Episode 120. What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Good morning out there. Hope you're all doing well. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday morning. Let's get after it. Today, we're going to be talking about spirit training. I'm going to go over one of the modules at the S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy, and we're going to break this down into a 5-part series. So for the coming weeks, I'm going to break down the 5 different classes and the structure at the S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy, and kind of talk about what these curriculums are all about, and then of course I want to provide you with some tips, some free information on how you can improve these topics. So as you guys jump on here, go ahead and throw me a flex emoji. Let me know where you're at, where you're located. Let's see where S.H.R.E.D Nation is today in the world, where you guys are tuning in from. This is episode 120 of the School of S.H.R.E.D, the one and only, the almighty. We are here on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. And then we also have the audio up on Spotify and iTunes. You can just search The School of S.H.R.E.D, and you can find the show and take the show on the go with you. If you are interested in joining the Online Health Academy, where you'll be surrounded by a group of peers. You will have weekly live classes with me, weekly live coach, weekly assignments on all things health and fitness. The best online personal trainer you're going to find. I can bet you that. Go to www.theschoolofshred.com and you can learn more about that. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. So today we're going to talk about spirit training. And this is one of 5 modules of the School of S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy. So there's 5 modules that spell S.H.R.E.D. That's why it's named the School of S.H.R.E.D, this online educational system that I've put together. And so the first one is spirit. The second module is habitat. So we're talking environmental detoxing and improving the environment at which you surround yourself with. The third module is recovery. The fourth is exercise, and then the 5th and final is diet, and that spells S.H.R.E.D. So the first one is spirit training. I'll look like we got somebody that's doing a little learn and burn, taking their dog on a walk right now. That's perfect. So, but the first module is spirit training, and so this is one that I feel is very important for holistic health. And it's really nourishing the mindset, the mind, through visual and auditory nutrition. We have access to a lot of different tools and a lot of different information nowadays. We're very lucky in that regard. However, there is a great responsibility, I feel, comes with that. And that great responsibility is, what do you choose to listen to and read and allow inside your eyes to get inside your body, which will affect your mindset, your outlook, and the way, in your perspective, the way you look at life. And so with this class, I wanted to put together, or this module, I should say, I wanted to put together different assignments that challenged clients into exploring things I don't think we think about enough, which is visual and auditory nutrition. And that can be done in several ways that we're going to get into here in a minute, that you can definitely get a pen and a journal on and write down some things that you can tweak in your overall program. Because we talk about holistic health and fitness on this show. And when I first got into exercise and eating right and whatnot, when I was younger, 18 and 19, I thought it was only about working out. But as the years have gone on, I found out that it's a much more all-encompassing endeavor. It's that lifestyle change you hear people talk about so much. People say it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. I think what is not marinated on enough is that a lifestyle, it's a mindset shift as well. And even mindset, I think we don't look deeply into it, because I think some of these words we kind of dull out on when people say things like mindset. But it's what you think about every single day. And I'm not just talking about you think about your workout and your discipline to work out. It's what do you think about? What is your outlook? Do you have a positive outlook? Typically what happens when somebody starts working out and eating right, as their body composition improves, their health improves, their energy improves, they produce more inside their life, they tend to become more successful in every endeavor, financially, in their relationships. And there's this cascading effect that happens when we get in shape. And so spiritually, somebody starts to get fit. Now we can exacerbate this by focusing in on that if we just acknowledge it right from the jump. And that's what we do at the Online Health Academy, is we focus on this idea of that you are your habits, and in order to create new habits, we just need to go for the kill right away, which is shifting the stories and the belief patterns inside the head and the mind to attract abundance and health mentally, which can lead into health spiritually. And so there's 5 tips that I'm going to give you today that can help you with your spiritual health. And if you want more of that, and in spiritual health, I'm saying mindset, right? Mindset, visual and auditory nutrition. I by in no means think I have it all figured out. This is just something of great interest to me, and it adds a lot of value to my clients when I share this with them. And I believe heavily in the holistic tying of loose ends, where all systems are connected. So you need to be bold. And I'm saying that for myself. I am bold as a coach, where I will go into the realm of saying, hey, look, let's affect a mindset, as well as, the objectivity of weightlifting, where we can measure things, we can measure torque, we can measure stuff like that. All the mechanics in exercise, we can measure food, we can do all the how-tos, but this is a little more, I guess you'd say, out there when you're talking about, hey, look, like your mindset, we need to focus on this as well. We need to be spiritually and mentally fit. And so the 5 tips I have for you, the first one today is what you can do to start increasing your spiritual fitness is start reading good books and audio books. Now, a lot of the stuff that I talk about on this show is rehashed a lot, but eventually this can enter your subconscious mind the more you listen to it. So the way that I train myself is repetition. What do you do when you exercise? Repetition. So there's nothing wrong with continually speaking about reading books and listening to audiobooks that give you a good visual and auditory diet. I like talking about that a lot, because we like to focus on this edible diet, what we eat, but what we look at and what we listen to also has an effect on our subconscious, and it's auto-suggesting certain things. So books and audiobooks are fundamental in changing spiritual fitness. So, the self-help section of the library is a good place to start. If you are into business, if you're any kind of an entrepreneur, reading business books is a great place to start and to learn. And, that really cascades out into always being a student, always learning. Because books, when I'm talking about books, I'm talking about nonfiction. If you want to read fiction, that's fine. If you want entertainment, that's cool. That's a little different than what I'm speaking on. I think nourishing the imagination and creativity is important. And as funny as it sounds, I mean, reading some entertainment books or maybe watching some childlike Disney movies might help you get back in touch with your imagination. I think the world has a way of beating that out of people. And that's why we stop creating and manifesting all that we want in our life, because we lose the power of imagination. If you read a book like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, I think it's the best, the best selling, the number 1 business book of all time. It's written in the 1930s. Talks a lot about creative imagination. And so if you want to reach a financial goal, which is what this book talks a lot about, you need to sit in solitude a lot, and you need to picture yourself and charge up the feeling of what would it be like if you already had that dollar amount, and you have to imagine what your life would be like. And through imagining it, you've created it once, and then you create it twice when it comes to fruition in the physical world. That might be too much for somebody. That might be hitting the nail right on the head for some others. For me, the truer words couldn't be spoke, because all the goals I've ever reached in my life they came to fruition through the power of visualization and through creative imagination. So there is something to be said about some fiction books, so reading some fiction where it gets the juices flowing, because it's a practice like anything, having a creative imagination. If you picture yourself in 5 years, where you're going to be, the kind of money you're going to have, the kind of home you're going to have, the kind of relationships you're going to have, if you picture the vacations you're going on, or whatever it is, what your career path is going to be, maybe you're going to start your own business, maybe you're going to go out on your own and do something that you really want to do, pursue your dream. That right there that's all imagination. The more you practice visualizing that, the more clear that visualization will become. And I can speak from experience on this one. You start writing that stuff down on cards and reading, who are you going to be in 5 years or 10 years or 5 months? And you start meditating on that. Essentially, you start to create this imagination, and it's kind of like in La La Land. But I don't think there's anything wrong with La La Land. I've thought about this a lot a lot. When I go on my walks in the morning, I pretty much do a lot of visualization and dreaming. And unfortunately, it seems like that's what's been taken from us with all this awesome access to technology, because we're always distracted. We want things in 30 seconds. We can watch, something condensed in 15 seconds to a minute on social media platforms. There's no shortage of entertainment in this world now, but there's not a whole lot of time to just sit down and think, and sit in solitude and think. And the very successful, financially successful, or the inventors, the great inventors like Edison, the great inventors, or Henry Ford, in the early days of this country, they did a certain amount of sitting in solitude and dreaming. And so selecting books, reading, like I was talking about here, number one, reading and listening to audiobooks is a great time for you to kind of allow your mind to wander a little bit with the audiobook. If you're walking and do a little learn and burn session, like our man Michael here, who's walking right now, listening to this, you kind of can allow that in. You take in the sights, the sounds of being outside. You can take in the audiobook. You can kind of let your mind go with it, kind of meditate on it, on the concepts, as long as they're positive. You're putting positive, good things inside your body when you're doing this, when you're listening to this. Good things go in your ears. Positive thoughts go in your ears. Positive thoughts come out of your mouth when you're talking and speaking. You'll start speaking life into people. And so this helps the spirit. And then books as well. Reading a book is a great form of solitude. People have been reading books for a long time. It's one of the original forms of entertainment, or ways to grasp knowledge. So that's something that I feel is very important for spiritual fitness. Number 2 is meditation. So number 1 is books and audiobooks, good visual and auditory diet. Number 2 is meditation. So this is sitting in a room, put headphones on, get a good app, good smartphone app that you can have the different kind of manipulate your brainwave activity a little bit. If you're in a theta state of brain waves right when you wake up, right before you go to bed, that's the easiest time to get into a good meditation. And you could even do some visualization there. This is a great time to get in touch with your spirit, to get in touch with who you really are, for what you really want. What do you think about life? What do you think about the afterlife? There's a lot of these big questions that I think that we ignore sometimes. And if you embrace it, as intimidating as it might be, and you ask these questions in meditation, you might just find that you find more peace than you ever thought possible. Again, this is speaking from experience as well. Is this pondering of life, the meaning of life, the meaning of my life, what I'm here to do. And these are some big questions, and you can meditate on these, or you can do simple meditations where you actually stop all thoughts. So you calm the mind. You calm the mind and try and find a flow state. So if you do nasal breathing the entire time you're doing a meditation, and you're breathing in, breathing out, and you just picture those words, breathing in, breathing out, where you don't allow any thoughts to come in. If thoughts come in, you watch them pass like clouds, and you get back on point. You're basically focusing on doing nothing. And this has an extremely calming effect on the rest of your day, specifically if you do it in the morning. And it has an extremely calming effect on your physiology. This has been shown over and over. So if you do this before bed, this can help de-stress the body and get you into that parasympathetic autonomic branch of the nervous system, which is the rest and digestive state of being. And so meditation is a powerful form of spiritual fitness, which helps the mind, which then can get the body in motion. Okay. So number 3 is hobbies. And hobbies are important. And why are hobbies important? Well, because life is not all about work. And if you work hard enough, you could actually make your hobbies your profession, and you could make it your work if you wanted to. And then you don't really ever work ever. Said ever quite a few times in that sentence, but you get what I'm saying. And the thing about hobbies is hobbies are great because they give us a chance to engage in something that we're inspired to do. And when we're inspired to get good at something, we're chasing progress. And progress is one of those things that humans are just designed for. We're designed to flourish when we're progressing. I know for me, whenever I'm having, any type of a bout of depression, if I get into something or back into one of my hobbies and I start learning more about it, it instantly fires me up and charges me up. And this is one of the tools that I personally use if I am feeling a little blue, as I revisit my hobbies and I think, what's something new that I could learn? Over the last couple months, I've started taking voice lessons to complement my guitar playing, and that's been extremely motivating and fun. I got a great instructor, a great teacher, and I've been having a great time with that. And because it's definitely progress, because it wasn't good in the beginning, but hobbies give you a chance to progress in life. They give you some of that uncertainty, which kind of has you living on the edge a little bit, and this helps spiritual fitness. This is a form of spirit training. Specifically when it comes to things like art. If you have a hobby that has to do with art, maybe you're in your right brain all day and you're very analytical when you're at your job. Maybe there's all these action items you got to do. Specifically, if you're in tech, you probably have a lot of number crunching, or it's more of that analytical brain. When you get into that left brain with a hobby, you can decompress. Maybe you like painting, maybe you like drawing, maybe you like writing. Maybe you like, an instrument. Instruments are big for me. Maybe you like martial art. That's left brain. That's where you can decompress. That kind of stuff can really help strengthen the spirit and the spiritual resolve. So that's a big one. Something that is explored in the School S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy. All these things are in detail and organized fashion. And I challenge you and push you to grow in the school to actually implement these into your life at one form or another. Everything's organized, like I said, because you get weekly assignments. You don't get it all at once, but it's spread out. Number 4 is examining habits. This is great for spiritual training. Is examining how you got to where you're at. If you're out of shape, how did you get there? What were things you were consciously or unconsciously doing that got you to that point? And how can we help you relearn and rediscover? That's what the School S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy does. And this is something you could also do on your own. Is make a list. What are some habits that you have that you don't like? And then you start to pick them apart. I've talked about before, breaking down habits in the neuroscience of habits. There is a cue that typically starts a routine, and then there's a reward for that. And it's kind of this 3-part system. That's a very simple way to look at your habits, but maybe you get nervous or you get stressed, right? So that could be a cue. Stress could be a cue for overeating, we'll say. So you have stress happens, that's the cue. So something happens at work, you're feeling frazzled. Then your routine is to overeat. You want to eat chocolate, or you want to eat some type of comfort food. Okay. Large majority of the population, this is very prevalent. I've definitely had to deal with this with clients before, and I've had to deal with it myself before. And then that's the routine. And then what is the reward for that? Well, the reward, there's a few rewards, maybe for something like chocolate or a really carby food. Carbs will up neurotransmitter production. They can actually bring cortisol down. So it actually physiologically can de-stress the body. But also just the being able to unplug and feeling like you are, it's an escape, right? The escape of eating food that is hyper palatable short term is a reward for being stressed. And so you can break your habits down and examine these things. And you guys got to understand, when you're doing this stuff, it helps the spirit. It makes the spirit strong because you're reflective. You're not reactive. So that's a great one. That's a great one that we look at every week in the School of S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy. Every time we meet for our live classes, on our Zoom classes every week, each student gets to go around and we talk about the assignment that they were tasked with. And there is something called a triple set, which is a habit formation drill I came up with that is branded around, a gym type thing, a triple set. But it's a way of examining excuses, pre-examining. So pre-crime, look out for pre-crime. So they pre-examine, where their excuses and pitfalls will happen with the technique that they were taught that week. And then they look at solutions to those excuses they can come up with before they ever make the excuse. So they know basically how to combat those excuses. And then 3 times that they can implement the technique. And this is a way to examine habits and create new habits. So the things that you're learning actually stick. And we can look at the neuroscience of habits and tie that into how to create a healthy lifestyle long-term, which is holistic health and fitness. So this will be the last program you ever do, which is you get an exercise program, you get your diet plan, you get a custom fit, but then you also know how to neurologically get through the hardest thing, which is creating new habits. The last thing we're talking about today is structured discipline. This helps spiritual training and spiritual fitness. Structured discipline, having a structured day, having a routine, having a morning routine. There's a reason that if you go on YouTube today and you look up billionaire habits, you're going to see a bunch of routines that start really early in the morning when the world is quiet, when it's not like a war zone. I don't know any really successful people that don't own at least a certain portion of their day with massive structure and discipline. And specifically in the morning or the late hours, when the world is quiet, when the family is sleeping, there is that. So we'll say in the morning, getting up at 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning, and your family gets up at 7 or 8. You have a little bit of time to have some discipline. Maybe that's working out while you listen to a good audiobook. Maybe it's journaling in the morning, journaling how you want your day to go. Maybe it's visualizing. So with structured discipline, some of the things that we do at the School of S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy is every student gets a book. It's a 230-page book that lasts you for your first 90 days. And then if you continue into quarter 2, then you get another book, same book. And so what it is it's a daily tracker that has a place for you to put your workouts in, but it also has something that I came up with called the daily grind, which is giving gratitude, doing something for your relationships in your life, doing something for inner self, nurturing the brain, and developing the body. And there's a point system associated with that. So that type of a structure, when you get up in the beginning of the day, the way that I operate my daily grind is I will get up and then knock that out in the first 30 minutes of the day. So it's structure. Do some affirmations. There's something called the Thirsty 3 in there. In these books for the School of S.H.R.E.D. You get the Thirsty 3 going, which is a 3-minute visualization of how you want your day to go. So it's basically a quick meditation. And then you got a 2-part thing called a daily duo or a daily double, which is a 2-point system, which is writing something you're thankful for and your must do for the day. And so you're setting a strong intention for the day. And this type of structured discipline, number one, it gets the mind and the consciousness where it needs to be for the day. Every day, when you're trying to change your life for the better, you need to reset yourself. And, this is something that I don't just talk about. This is something that's super important to me. Very rarely now do I have a day where I don't completely form fit my day and my mind to how I want my day to go and the results I want to attract in my life, short-term and long-term. Very rare there's a day that goes by where I just wake up and start my day now. And I recommend you do the same for spiritual health and spiritual training, because the way you think about yourself affects the spirit. I think we could agree on that, right? So the actions you take affect the spirit. And so if you're skimping on things or you're not disciplined, you might not think it matters, but it's getting into your subconscious. And when that gets in your subconscious that you're procrastinating or you're slacking and you're not doing what you know you need to do to get the result you want. I think that can have a profound effect on how we really feel about ourselves, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And unfortunately, some people, and it might be you listening to this, are having a hard time with that right now, where you might be so disconnected that you might not even realize that's an issue. And that's part of spirit training and hollowing this out. And the beautiful thing is that we can fix all this stuff. It's mental health, it's spiritual health, and that all goes into the whole piece of the health pie. All right, and you have physical health, spiritual health, and mental health, and they all coexist. They all need to coexist if you really want to consider yourself a steward of health and wellness. And this is why the School of S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy talks about how to relearn and rediscover holistic health and fitness, because all systems are connected. They're all related. So this is episode 120 of Spirit Training. I hope you guys enjoyed this. What I'm going to do is once a week, we're going to go through one of the modules at the School of S.H.R.E.D. I figure, hey, you have to listen to me plug the School of S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy, which you should absolutely join. You would not be disappointed for doing that. Go to www.theschoolofshred.com. But that's the whole point of this thing. But at the same time, you're going to get some good teaching points here. And so, I'm going to go through all 5 of the modules that I teach out of at the School of S.H.R.E.D Online Health Academy, and give you just a quick snapshot of maybe what we do inside the school. So if you're interested in jumping in, you can do it. If you just want the free info, at least you're getting free info. I just gave you guys 5 points that you could do to help your spiritual fitness. So you know what? You get free info if you allow me to plug the school. Because it's something I believe in heavily, and I've worked very hard on it. So your 5 spiritual training points that I talked about today are reading positive books and positive audiobooks, meditating, engaging in hobbies, examining your habits is number 4. And then the last one that we went over is structured discipline daily, and having some type of a structure in your day that you do every day and creating a routine. All right, so that's it for episode 120. Ask any questions you guys have, and we're getting ready for our Q&A on Friday. Have a good Tuesday. With that, I want you to stay strong and healthy in body. Stay relentless and energized in spirit. Stay determined in your pursuits today, school and S.H.R.E.D Nation out there. You have a great day. Until next time, class is dismissed. And you know what that's spelled right there. That's spelled S.H.R.E.D. Now go S.H.R.E.D the day and get better in every way. We'll see you tomorrow.